almost always program a hip complex into every program that I write as a part of the warm-up. I need to actually make a video of this because explaining it and trying to find links for it is not all that easy. So, this is just a general sort of semi-dynamic stretching warm-up routine with some static stretching in it. Most of it based around box sitting or 90-90 sitting. So, where we're going to start from is right here. So, first thing, I'm going to try to just drop forward, stretch this glute. You can play with this, you can start coming straight forward over the knee. You can come around. There. Do a few of those. I'm going to need to lean away with this, but some people have better hip internal rotation than I do. You can sit up with this. I'm going to lean over here. I'm going to do 5 or 6 reverse clamshells. I'm going to come back, do that rotation one more time. Then, trying not to use my hands, I'm going to drive up and through, pushing the hips through, and trying to shoot them forward. You're getting a good squeeze in the glutes. And then sitting back down. If you have a history of patellar subluxations, kneecap dislocations, this particular exercise can be problematic for you. I would recommend modifying it perhaps if you have unstable patellas and you know it. Or if you just start to feel like particularly your kneecap is getting shoved out of place by this. It's just a fact of the weight bearing on it. So 5 or 8 of these, and then just going to shoot through. For a hip flexor stretch for me, I like to set the abs, make sure that I'm not dropping in to an exaggerated lordosis here. So I'm going to set the abs, work on getting a posterior pelvic tilt even, and then rock in slightly. You should feel the stretch somewhere in the top third of your thigh and the front of your hip. So set abs, rock in. If you can't get a good stretch there, open up slightly here and try to bring your chest this way. If you really want to get even more stretch, bring this hip into slight internal rotation. Set those abs, rock in, and open up. The hip flexors, because of their line of pull, have a slight external rotation on them. So internal rotation or opening up to this opposite side from the upper body are both going to increase the stretch. Come in here, and then you can also just floss that quad a little bit. I don't necessarily do that, I just get a few short duration hip flexor stretches. From there, open up 90 degrees here, and we're just rocking. Most of the weight should be on this knee. We're just rocking side to side. If you don't feel like you're playing air guitar, you're probably doing it wrong. So, opening up into some hip abduction, coming back. Good. So from there, you can come on back down. Roll across, and you're doing the same thing on the other side. Dropping down here. Spending maybe 5-10 seconds, drop down here. Opening up this hip. This hip is even worse because I injured it a couple of years back. Do a couple rounds of that. Pop up 5 to 8 times. shoot this knee through, same hip flexor stretch, making sure the abs are set. We're working on keeping this perfect right here as well. That lumbar positioning, I like it as a first abdominal sort of drill. So, from there, if you're feeling a little adventurous, from this half kneeling position to the hip flexor stretch, you can always pop up into a squat. Just practice opening up the adductors a little bit with your knees, and maybe dropping in some hip internal rotation. Come on up to standing from there. After 5 or 8 of those, the squat drill is the hardest. From there, maybe some assisted hip airplanes right here, letting this hip drop. Then coming up, trying to get your body perpendicular to the floor. Dropping down. As you drop down, you should feel a stretch on the outside of your hip. As you open up, you'll either feel a stretch deep inside your hip or in this adductor. Do 8 or 10 of those. And again, if you're feeling adventurous, you can do 8 or 10 active hip airplanes. With the active hip airplanes, this is a good chance to work on keeping tripod foot and work on knee tracking. Keeping weight even over the big toe, the little toe, and the heel.